how you doing? John here. I'm going to do a pen control exercise. Something that anybody should really do if they're new to drawing. Just getting the hang of it, just sort of like a warm-up exercise that you can do at the start of any project or just any time if you want to just learn to teach your hand to draw exactly what your brain is envisioning with a higher level of precision, right? Because there's nothing frustrating when you have an image in your head and you're like, you start to draw it and it just looks like something else or whatever, right? So I find this helps a lot just to do this. So I'm going to do it basically by textbook. So like if you're in a college, an art college or whatever, so they may teach you something very similar to this. And I'm actually going to be using a new pen that I just recently got. I did order it from Amazon. It was a fountain pen that can be converted to using a fountain pen or ink cartridges. So I got this a whole set of ink cartridges here that came there was like 12 blue and 12 black, so I'm using the black ink cartridges. I took the fountain pen out that automatically comes out if you want to use the cartridges. So with this pen you can use a if you have like a little vial of ink, you can put it in and with this thing, if you have it, you can siphon the ink out, right? So it was it's hard to see that name there, but if it matters to you, it was a Wordworth in black. It was about $40 on Amazon in Canadian. I had a $5 coupon that was posted on that site. So I'm going to do my lesson with this little guy here. So I always like to keep my pen cap on the end there. So anyways, what I'm going to do to start is what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just draw some guidelines here, just for my own, just so I don't run out of paper in the end, just so I know where I'm at. It doesn't matter if you can't see this. This is more for my own benefit, really. And here. All right. It doesn't matter what type of paper you use, but it is a good idea to use a paper that you're familiar with. Like I'm just using a sheet of watercolor paper here. I'm using a lesser quality watercolor paper than what I usually do my drawings with. I usually use the Staedtler, the 140-pound heavy watercolor paper. So I'm just using a cheap watercolor paper here just for my lessons, because as soon as I've done this, I'm just going to like crumple it up and chuck it in the garbage, right? Whereas my other drawings, I keep them and I put them in a humidor storage unit that I have in my office studio here. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to just draw some wavy lines here. I think I'll go right about here. And so what you want to do, you're just going to like go up and down a continuous wavy line, moving the whole hand across the page. Oops. See, it can be difficult. You see how I sort of jittered there? See, as soon as you lift your hand off the paper, you get a bit of a jitteriness there, right? So, but if you just have your hand sitting on the paper, then you're just moving your hand. You do have more control and precision, but as soon as you lift your hand up, that's when you lose control. So it is a good idea to just sort of exercise both, having your hand on the paper or on your table and having your hand raised up, and just move your hand across the paper. So you're just learning an exercise control. And you can go fast or really slow or super fast, whatever rate. So it's a good exercise to do. Just like if you're going to the gym, you warm up, excuse me, at the start, and just to get your body going. Same thing with art. You just you warm yourself up to start. So here I'm going to draw a continuous series of loops here, and I'm going to change their sizes as I go along. So first I'm going to start off with my hand resting on my desk. Just changing the dimensions, and I'm left-handed, so everything I do tends to start from the left to the right. I could go backwards. So now I'm going to go the same thing, but my hand hovering above the table, moving with my pen along the sheet of paper. So you can kind of see the difference. In the quality, right? And if you wanted to, you can, assuming that you could be left-handed, but you could actually even go backwards if you want. And then backwards with your hand above the paper. Like so. So now I'm going to do something similar, but I'm going to do it in parts, and I'm going to leave my hand in a firm position and do loop sections here. So. This is kind of like those writing exercises you used to do when you were in grade 1 and 2. Or 2 and 3, when you switch from printing your letters to writing out your letters type thing. So I'm going to do the same thing again, but backwards this time. My hand firmly on the paper. And I'm just going to draw loops going backwards. I'm actually resting my entire hand on my small finger here. So I'm actually kind of like this. If you can do that, but I mean, if you're right-handed, obviously, you're going to be holding your pen in a different way than I do. So now you can do also another thing where you can do your loops at steep angles. So when you do this, just do it for like 5 minutes before you start a drawing, or if you're not going to be drawing that day, just do it as a 5 or 10 minute exercise each day. The same way if you would go to the gym, right? Except you can do this at home, and You don't have to spend money on memberships. I'll just go a little bit steeper here. And maybe you can try it like this, where you're going really steep, and then you're changing your steepness and changing your angle. Like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some vertical lines here. I'll draw my guidelines a little bit darker here, just so you can see them, clear. And this will do maybe 3 groups. It doesn't matter how big they are. I just have them about 3/4 of an inch size. So I'm just going to draw some lines equal distance apart. Part of the exercise is to how fast can you go with keeping them a consistent distance apart, and then trying that same thing but drawing them closer but all the same length. And then you can try where you're really, really, really close, and as you get further away, you start to space your lines out. And this is a very good exercise for hatching. And you can do the same thing in reverse again here. So you're almost like drawing a solid line to start, and then you slowly begin to space your lines further and further out. Like that. I must say I really like this pen actually. I'm using an ultra fine point. If you can see that or not, but there was a fine point and it was a 0.5, and this is ultra fine. I think it's a 0.3 or 0.38 or something, and it's supposedly gilded gold or something like that, but who cares? It could be metal, it could be gold, it could be anything. I don't think that really matters what it's gilded in. So now we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to do it a different angle and try to, I'm going to do these same lines but at an angle, but do it at an angle where it's awkward, so that way you can kind of, you're doing a hard exercise, right? Like the hard exercise at the gym, the one you don't want to do. So I'm going to draw in a direction that's uncomfortable, and I'm kind of holding my hand down below, trying to keep my lines the same distance apart from each other. And the same thing again here. But closer together. Oops. Don't worry if that happens. If you mess up where one of your lines is too far apart, don't worry about it. Don't go back and try to fix it. This is just an exercise, so it's important to just leave your little mistakes, and you can keep this. Like with me, I just show it, like throw it in the garbage, but if you want, you can keep it in a book, and then you can go through it from each day, and you can see how you've improved with your hand-eye control, your brain controlling your hand. Sorry, I know there's a terminology for it. So now I'm going to flip around. See, this is my natural way to draw it, so I can go very precise now. It's not awkward for me. So I went close together. Now I'm going to go start to spread them out. So I can be very, very precision. In this case, you'll find the same thing when you draw in the position that is most comfortable for you. But again, like with these two exercises here, it's important to do what's uncomfortable for you, all right? And then you can switch to what is comfortable. So now I'm going to flip them over and I'm going to do this one backwards. So going very solid, and then getting further and further away. All right then. So now you can combine what you've learned here. So we can do some wavy lines here. And then do some squiggly lines, almost like you're drawing topographical lines or contour lines or wood texture or hatching. And you're kind of following your last angle of your last loop there. And then as you get further out, you can kind of start to change it up a little bit. And then I'm going to go backwards here. Like that. Just good exercises to do. And the same thing with your vertical line exercise you did here. You can do the same thing. So you're almost doing like a hatch effect. And just slowly space your lines further out as you go out. So that's about it. I mean, it took me almost 20 minutes for that, but again, I was explaining things as I was going, so you can just throw your headphones on. You can do this in like 5 minutes. So I highly recommend it. I recommend you buy one of these. And that's all. Thanks. Bye for now.